I want to watch this. This is from JustPearlyThings. It's another one of those womanosphere. Well, it's the manosphere. Women aren't really allowed to be championed, but it's called Truth About the Whale Syndrome. I think that's about being fat, so that'll be really interesting. Interesting listen. Let's see what we got here.
It's just saying
people have been talking about this video on TikTok. That's why I like saw it, and so I'm interested in watching.
Saying you got called fat when you were younger, so now you're going to call someone else fat to try and make them feel bad. I feel like that. I'm just like,
it's not to make them. It's not. No. It's not to make them feel bad. Or maybe they should feel bad enough to get on the treadmill and run.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I swear to God, I hit 200 pounds. You know what? I hit 200 pounds. It was the worst day of my life. And some dude at work, was saying, "Oh, I would never date a girl over 200 pounds." and I carry the weight better, so I'm taller, right? Yeah. So I don't think.
No, I don't think this is angry react. Is this angry react? Wait, what? Wait. Are you fucking serious? No. Wait. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Is it actually? Hold on a second.
Angry Reactions is the most positive, most beloved man on this app. Until it comes down to his relationships.
That's not her. Is that her? That's not her. Is that her?
This lovely lady, this is his ex-girlfriend now together, not together. And the top comments are not happy. Someone says I can't watch this up and down toxic stuff anymore.
Wait.
Another shorty said, you deserve better, girl. I can't acknowledge this.
No. Is that her? Oh, what? Wait a minute. Is this actually her? No. This isn't the same person, is it? It's her, I think. Wait. Holy fuck. Bro, I just remembered. She reached out to me when I was still on TikTok, and she's like, hey, can you help me out like setting up a stream or something a while ago? I didn't know it was her. Wow. It's fucking her. That's what makes sense, because I reached out there in DMs as you were talking a little bit about like me coming on like the show or something in some capacity or whatever. I didn't think it was. She's like, oh, we missed you on TikTok. I was like, okay, like thanks, I guess. But I didn't realize that it was somebody I've literally talked to before. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Wow. I'm not gonna read. I don't care why they broke up. Like, things just don't work out sometimes. Wow. Okay, let's get back to the video. I just didn't realize that that they broke up. Wow. It was the ghosting things. Seriously. Okay. Oh, all right. All right. Okay.
Would never date a girl over 200 pounds. and I carry the weight better, so like I'm taller, right? So I don't think he knew I was. And so I signed up for a marathon. I swear to God, I ran a marathon. Then I lost I lost a bunch of weight. Why?
So you signed up,
bro? Because I'm not lazy. Because I was like, oh shit.
Well, so here's the one thing I'll say. Obviously, I'm fat, but there are absolutely fat people who are lazy. I think a lot of the times there's like a multitude of different factors, because like I've always done like physical labor for my life in my jobs. Like I've always done like pretty high physically demanding labor. Like when I was like bus cleaning, I know it doesn't sound super physical, but like you're scrubbing buses, power washing. It's not super demanding, but like it's like physical. You're up on your feet all day, whatever. It's not really a laziness thing. For some people it is. A lot of times it's like a bad relationship with food thing. It's like, yeah, like when I'm upset, like I eat, and when I'm happy, I'll also eat. And then you also, when you live in America, a lot of the food that's like funneled into your face is not good. It's very micronutrient. It's not very micronutrient dense, not very fibrous. It's not very filling, but it tastes good, and you kind of get like almost addicted to the taste. I think that there needs to be better standards, honestly, for I think there needs to be better standards for the food that we actually allow people to eat in our country specifically. So I don't think it's just like a laziness thing. I think it's more than that. It can be just lazy, you know. Part of it too is that like, yeah, we have different types of jobs nowadays that aren't necessarily as demanding. I understand that. You know, it's good to get up and start walking a half hour a day. Like that's the way that you should all start. And I think tonight I'm going to start again. I've been trying to really, just for your health, even if it doesn't help you lose weight, just for like your heart health. But it sounds like she didn't really have that relationship with food, and maybe she was just a little overweight just because of like poorer habits of just like kind of eating. You know, there's different reasons for different people being fat. Some people are lazy, some people have bad relationship with food, et cetera, et cetera. I would honestly say that a lot of times if you're like really overweight, you probably have an eating disorder, but our society, it's so normal to be fat that we don't really consider it like an eating disorder in a way we probably should. So
this is a problem. And if you know what we do instead? We say you're not a whale. You look great. You're not fat, even though it is what it is.
Dude, where's with this?
Well, you don't need to just tell fat people that they look worse just for being fat. Like, I mean, this is kind of weird and rude. Okay.
You deserve love. That's the worst one.
Everyone
Why?
deserves love.
No one deserves that.
We do need to strike a balance, though.
You don't think you deserve? All right.
You earn it. You don't deserve anything in life.
What do you think men deserve then? If
Well, I mean, like you're saying, fat people don't deserve love. If your argument is, hey, nobody deserves anything, okay, I can get on that. But like, if you're saying fat people don't deserve love, then I'm just like, or fat women. What is that? Why? Well, for what reason? Like, there are such things called fat men. They like fat women. I happen to like overweight women. There are some skinny guys that like bigger women. Like, why is it? Like, it might hurt your ability to get a date or get a relationship for being overweight. That's true, or can be true, right? But that doesn't mean that like the people don't deserve love. I don't understand.
They still deserve love. Everyone.
So why
Like,
get
I
rejected
feel
every
like.
What is the guy that approached you? Does he deserve love?
But you know
Why
what?
didn't you give it to him?
I said to him, his baby, he's not for me. I said to him in my dad's accent as well. So funny. I said to him so many.
I feel like everybody deserves a chance at love, except for pedophiles, obviously, unless they love bullets. But not everybody's entitled to love. You need to be a good person. Your weight isn't the only thing that defines you. If you're like a real dickheaded piece of shit, like you're not going to find somebody. You need to be, somebody who's like caring. Listen, there are multiple different things. Body is obviously like a factor. There's level of intelligence. There's like your work ethic. There's a lot of different factors in that make up a person and what value they're going to bring to a particular relationship. Yeah, it's just interesting that there's like more weight. Funny joke on weight than there is on something like dedication or like hard work, things of that nature, things that like really round out a relationship. Because at the end of the day, like especially when you're in a relationship, and especially when you're with a woman, there's probably a chance that she could gain weight after you have a baby. And if your number one focus is like just weight, yeah, of course you're going to be miserable, you know. And of course, it's good to like help them lose weight if you want your partner to lose weight. I understand that in like a nice, kind way. But there's a lot of different factors, like how good of a mother is she going to be? Is she going to work? How attentive is she to you? What are the different things? Because I know with my wife, she works. She's very intelligent. I talk about it all the time, but she's a behavioral specialist for adults with intellectual disabilities. She's very intelligent. We have stimulating conversations. She's very beautiful. I like heavier women. Our sexual chemistry is incredible. She provides me with emotional tendering, I guess you'd say. And we both provide each other with this stuff too. But like, when I'm having a stressful day, I can sit down and I can talk to her without feeling like she's going to criticize me for having a bad day. That's a really big one, by the way. And I've seen people in the manosphere that will say something like, "Well, you shouldn't ever confide in like a partner." It's silly. That's like dumb. If you can't confide, if you're dating somebody that you feel like you can't confide in, don't date them anymore. It's called setting a standard and setting boundaries, right? There's a lot of different things. Like I know my wife, she cooks for me, she cleans for me. She's gonna make an incredible mother. There's 1,000 different things that go into what makes somebody like a good partner to be with. It's not always just being overweight, and you should always try not to be overweight. Let's not pretend that it's okay, like it's a good thing, but it is okay. It's okay to be overweight. Like you should always try to be better in general. But if you're not overweight, you're going to be something else. Like, you know, maybe you're a condescending dickhead. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things. Maybe you're unintelligent. You should always work on yourself in general. But I don't think that we should always like hyper criticize one aspect, because what the reality is that there's like 1,000 different things that make you a good and a bad person. We very heavily centralize around ones that when we look at that person makes us feel, they go, ew, right? Like that's what it really comes down to. A lot of it comes down to like, you're just uncomfortable with that person existing. Okay, well, you don't need to express it. You know what I mean? So
Many times in the nicest way. Listen, bro, I'm not interested. I have a boyfriend. You seem like you're a nice person. I'm not interested. Yeah, please
you seem like a nice bloke.
leave me alone. If you say that to someone a few times and they're still not getting it, do you know what?
Wait, do you hear that? It's the world's smallest
Violin.
I wrote.
The guy who's running with you does not tell you that he likes you.
He's 54.
How many guys run with you?
That's even more impressive. A 54 dude running with you in the morning?
Running with you.
My dude's putting in shifts. Listen, where's the love for
He didn't
that?
pass out.
That's borderline abuse. Like if a 54-year-old
Is Pearl dating a 54-year-old?
was jogging with me just to say, yo, you look good, bro. Even if this gay guy's doing
What
that,
are we
thank
talking
you, my dude. Thank you.
Is he gay? I'm confused.
Do you think you have pretty privilege?
I think all women, to an extent, have pretty privilege.
Yes,
Well, like, yeah, everybody, it's called the halo effect. Everybody will have some kind of a privilege based on like how attractive they are perceived to society. So yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Yes
glad
or
you
no?
said that.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
whales have pretty privilege?
I love
They should have
whales.
pretty privilege.
Whales are cute.
you think whales?
Orcas are very
do you think whales have the same amount of pretty privilege that you have?
As in the ones in the ocean. Is that what we're talking
no,
about?
I'm talking about fat chicks.
Nah, I'm
I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I'm trying to express this. I don't understand the disrespect, and I don't understand the disrespect. I really don't. I feel like, and I want to be very clear here, that some people grew up in a space where their people around them let them get away with too much. This is just, if I ever talked about a woman like this in front of my mother would hit me. And people going like, oh, well, that's abuse. Shush, stop talking, please. It's disrespectful. If she had said, well, do you think that overweight women have pretty privilege? I'd be like, no, probably not as much in our society, for sure. Right? Because we can have this conversation in like a delicate, nuanced way where we talk about like, you know, halo effect, pretty privilege, stuff like that. But that's not the goal. The goal is to hate fat women and like to put other people down. And in my experience, at least, the people who try to put other people down the most tend to have issues with their own self-esteem. And that's like really sad, because one of the things that I've really come to realize in the manosphere, in a lot of the men and women who are engaged in that, they are probably never going to be emotionally fulfilled in any capacity with the way that they interact with life. And as you get older, your 20s to your 30s, that's the time where you're learning to interact with people and learning to set boundaries and like accept dates and et cetera, et cetera. If you go through that aspect, acting like this, you're not going to find somebody that's going to be like positively emotionally attentive to you. It's like sad, but then like it's hard for me to be sad when somebody's trying to be very intentionally disrespectful, you know? And like you should try to surround yourself with people who don't constantly feel the need to put other people down, you know? But now this is tied to her job. And so this is just kind of how she's going to be.
I'm not calling them that.
Okay,
I'm not calling it like
what
bigger women whales. Let's just stop that
Okay,
there.
fat
I'm not-
chicks.
No,
Big women?
bigger women. I'm
So
not.
why can't I call them what they are? Why do
Because you're trying to be disrespectful. That's what it comes down to. I don't know how, like, this is such a very fundamental aspect. Like, every time that, like, I've been raised to treat people with, like, respect. So, like, if I say a fat woman, and I mean no disrespect on the word, that makes sense. Somebody might say, well, why'd you say fat woman? Oh, well, that's just how I talk about it. I'm a blunt speaker. That's perfectly reasonable to be a blunt speaker. It's okay to be a blunt speaker. You know, hey, that's a black guy. It's a Hispanic guy. That's a Mexican guy. It's a fat girl. You know, blunt speaking, I really have no problem. I've talked to people who are blunt speakers. There's nothing wrong with that, because the intention isn't to be putting somebody down or disrespectful. But when you say whales and you have, like, you put stink on it, you're trying to be disrespectful. It's not about, this is where it gets into the conversation about, like, talking about a fact. Why are you talking about a fact in the way that you're talking about a fact? If I say that somebody is fat, why am I saying that? Oh, well, because, like, I look at them and they are overweight. When versus somebody else, well, why are they fat? Oh, because they're disgusting to me. It's one of those, like, really dishonest disrespect. I don't understand. I really don't get it. And it's so weird too because like I've seen men in the manosphere talk about this as well. And one of the weirdest things to me is that like I don't understand how you could have an ideology that centralizes around being a man that doesn't also centralize around being respectful at all. I really don't understand that. Where I come from, you learn very quickly like respect. I don't know where they grew up. I really don't understand it. It seems bizarre to me. I don't know. I mean, like I've got, I don't know. Maybe it's because I got into fights more, and like you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. I remember at my old job, like really like when I was younger, and when my boss, he was like above me. He wasn't like a super boss, but he was like my my lead. Call my lead, and he was on the phone with his wife all the time, and like he wasn't doing work. So I we were all getting pissed, and I said like, oh, you're always on the phone with your fucking wife all the time. Like get off the phone with your wife. And like that started like a really big encounter. He's like, don't ever talk about my fucking wife. And that was like how you learn. And I think I was 19 or 18. I don't remember exactly, but I remember another coworker of mine. He's like, listen, I just need you to understand something. And this is something that really stuck with me for a long time. He's like, obviously, for one, you don't talk about somebody's wife at all. Like you just stay away from it. I was like, that's understandable. But another thing you have to understand is that when you turn 18 years old, this is to a lot of men and women, you're an adult. Just need you to understand this. Because people, even though even though like your mommy and daddy aren't treating you like an adult once you turn 18, the world's going to treat you like one if you cross a boundary. And the law exists, but sometimes the law is not going to stop you from getting smacked. So like try to be more respectful. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just try to be more respectful. You don't know who you're walking around fucking with. It's so weird.
You can it's your show again.
No, but I'm saying like why do you want to live in delusion?
It's
like
not
because they're
delusion,
fat, they
I
have
just
more
don't wanna-
fat. They have more fat.
Okay.
I'll tell you why you want to live in delusion. It minimizes accountability. You can be offended,
not
and
it
it can
at
be
all.
plausible at the same time, or it can be a compliment.
I feel like
I don't think that you need to police everybody that you see and constantly criticize all the time. We can understand that fat people should lose weight while also understanding that you should still be respectful to somebody who's fat because you don't know what they're going through or who they are as a person. And that there's more than just being fat that contributes to somebody's value as a person.
I feel like you can carry weight in completely different way and it will look different on different people. Like there's guys,
That doesn't
right?
matter.
Like it's like you said, you're tall.
Who looks
you
good?
When we talk about fat people, it doesn't have to be in a way where you think that they actually look good or versus looking bad. I think one of the things that people need to understand is like if somebody's making fun of a fat person, your response doesn't mean doesn't need to be, oh, you look really good. No, your response should be nothing like that. Fat people don't want you to comment on their looks. That's it. It's not, they don't want positive. They don't want negative. Some people are going to, of course, but generally speaking, people just don't talk about somebody's looks. That's all it really comes down to.
you
300
carried
pounds.
200 pounds on you and you still didn't look like you were that big.
Nah, I was kind of wailing it.
So, how much does your boyfriend weigh? When people are this
In
like this
kg.
whole plus size thing, it's like, why don't you marry a plus size person?
He's
then?
like 96 kg.
Most people do. What are you talking about? What is
When people are this
In
like this
kg.
whole plus size thing, it's like, why don't you marry a plus size person?
He's
then?
like
most fat people date other fat people? What are you talking about? Like, have you ever stepped outside your house?
96 kg.
I don't know what kgs.
I don't know what pounds is.
That's about-
You were saying 200.
96 kilograms. Like, what is it like? Is it 2.2 kilograms to a pound? So
I was like, I don't know what that is.
That's about 13 stone.
13 stone kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah, I think 13 stones. I think that's 260. I think a stone is 20 pounds.
What's that?
So that means he weighs more than you.
Yeah, he weighs more than me. He's a bigger guy.
So that goes to show what I'm saying.
What?
What does it go to the show?
Fat women like you don't like to hear. Look at the celeb. How many celebs got a fat girlfriend?
What? I can't even understand what this guy's saying.
Like you don't like to hear. Look at the celeb. How many celebs got a fat girlfriend?
What did he say?
I think it depends on
Depends on
what
what? Like, how
you
many?
characterize as fat. Because if we're talking
People have different preferences and people have different standards, and they look for those preferences or standards. So if an overweight person is looking for an underweight person, they're going to have a lower chance of finding that person. But they might find that person. And if they don't, maybe they should change their standards. But that doesn't, I don't understand what's happening right now. Like we're all up in the air.
okay, if we're talking about fat, yeah, there's a
300
load of
pounds,
girls
300
with fat
pounds.
asses, and you'd be like, yeah.
300
Where's the
pounds.
fat? Is it in the booty? Is
Show
it-
me,
is it in
name
the cheeks?
one girl that looks good at 300 pounds.
I
Name
don't know
one.
what 300 pounds is.
See, I'm
Maybe
gonna try-
I like women that weigh a lot of, like I like heavier women. So like probably most women that 300 pounds, maybe not most, but I'm going to like, you know what I mean? Okay.
The word obese.
You know what 300 pounds is, and you know what a fat girl is.
Yeah,
What is that in
Like-
stone? What is
300
300 pounds in
Like 15 stone.
stone?
Isn't that like
Like 1.30.
50%?
Let me, like,
Yeah, mine or something.
300.
I mean, right? How much is a stone? Oh, it's 14. Okay, sorry. I thought it was 20. My bad.
Pounds.
The 20 stone.
What is that like? Is that over
Like a
15
liso.
kg?
Oh, it's 21 stone.
21 stone.
Yeah, name one girl that looks good at 21 stone. That's not a whale.
I don't know anyone at 21 stone. So
I know in media. I can think of a lot of plus size models.
I don't know.
Does Lizzo look
don't know.
good?
Because you never look.
I think she's
Lizzo looks good. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
cute. Personally, I think she's cute.
Is that yes or no?
I think she's
Do you think
cute.
most men want to screw her?
I mean, you're asking a dangerous question. You're asking a really dangerous question right now. I would put my fucking left nut on the fact that more people would want to fuck Lizzo than this girl here. I'm just going to be honest. People like Lizzo. It's not just because she's overweight. It's because, well, she makes good music, but she's also unapologetically fat, and she owns it. So, like, when you say, oh, do you think about, yeah, a lot of guys want to fuck Lizzo. You entered a trap. You put yourself in a really bad situation. Of course people want to fuck Lizzo. What are you talking about? You're crazy. That's rough. That's rough. Okay.
I don't know what most men do.
Do you think she gets the same pretty privilege you do?
She probably gets more pretty privilege because she's also like an influencer. So I think I call that like a halo effect thing.
I don't know.
But who really cares? Why does this matter? Like,
I think you do know.
Yeah, you do know.
I think if she was sat next to you when your boyfriend introduced himself to you, I think you would have felt pretty confident. listen, yo,
I mean, I think that's problematic only in the sense that like there should be no reason that you should feel more or less confident that your boyfriend, somebody you're dating, would want to like go with somebody else. It doesn't matter whoever sits next to me and my wife. It doesn't matter. Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, well, you feel pretty confident if she sat next to you. Why would you not feel confident when they sit next to anybody? It's weird.
I have a twin sister, right?
Like you're being in a relationship, you should be dedicated.
So I had
Is
the
she
privilege
nicer?
growing up. She used to bully me for a bit because I was like a hippie nice guy when I was growing up. I was like, no status, no ego, whatever. But
Okay.
I had the privilege of actually hearing what women actually think. Like women don't say the truth on purpose. When they get together, when they talk with each other, that's when they say the truth. That's when they say why they get with this guy, what they like about that guy.
Okay.
Do you think you want
Men do that too. What is your point? Like, what's the specific point? I'm very confused.
to keep them fat so you don't have to compete with them?
Ooh.
Like subconsciously?
Compete with who?
Yeah, the other girls, right? Because
Compete with who though? Like why? That's so fucking-
You don't think you got competition?
like, yeah, you think you have no competition?
I don't want to compete with. Like, why am I competing with them anyway? Like, it's not life or death.
You don't think you have to compete for a man?
Not really.
What?
That's a privilege.
Okay, well, I'll take that.
But if
Because
there's less women,
What the words that they use are so bizarre because I know that Pearl is somebody who will date a guy that makes a lot of money and will cheat on her religiously because he doesn't really love her. When she uses the word compete, I would use the word maybe advocate. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you should never get so comfortable that you no longer treat them in a way that makes them feel special on both ends. Always. That's not competing. There shouldn't be like the threat of that person going and finding someone else, but there should be an understanding that like you have engaged in a responsibility to mutually make each other feel like really good people. So like I continue to treat my wife well because I love my wife and of course I want to keep her. But the word compete just sounds like it really feels like it wraps up dating. Like I'm not afraid my wife's going to go and leave me for someone else. I'm afraid my wife I'm not really afraid, but I don't want my wife to be unhappy. Like other people isn't a factor. Like I just want her to be happy. You know what? It's just a weird way to look at relationships. It's always people who've never really been in a relationship that always talk the most about being in relationships. Not even just these manosphere people. It's also people in like real life. You know, like the meme where it's like the guy's like, yeah, I've never really had a girlfriend, but I give really good relationship advice. No, you don't. You think you do because like you're talking to people who don't know shit about dick and relationships and you're giving like really bland expressions about relationships, but you don't really know anything about anything. That's why you're like 19 years old and you just like, that's it. You don't really know anything that you're talking about.
whales, it might not be awarded to you.
No, because just as I said,
Super chatted $5. Hey PG, been keeping an eye on your YouTube channel but never have the time for Twitch. Still appreciate segments.
Thanks, brother.
In small words, why the switch?
I talked about it before, but I feel like YouTube's like a little bit better of a platform. I should have paused that and then responded to it after the segment. I'm sorry, brother. But thank you so much. But yeah, I think I'm going to make the transition to YouTube. Twitch hasn't really been that great. It's hard to grow on there.
just as
Lucky
I said,
for you, there's a lot of girls plumping themselves up right now. So just being in shape, you're
I
like
like
top
a
30.
juicy girl.
Look at you're in the top like 30%, just not being fat.
There's nothing wrong with a girl that's got a bit of back. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's
That's
just
not
There's
bad.
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with a girl that's
think it's
thick
not.
too.
I think
That's
it's not
so
the
cute.
back. I think it's like the gut, the armpit fat,
it's just not
wings.
healthy.
the
It's not
thighs.
You know when they got like the little
You're gonna
beanie bag
die
on their
early.
stomach, like the human bean bag on their stomach. That's messed up, man.
Okay.
Like for me, like when people
So just don't date those people. But why go around and like shame people for that? You know what I mean?
normalize this, it's just like it's not healthy. They're gonna die young.
Yeah.
That's not good. Like I don't know why people are like letting them die.
I had a woman come up.
It's not really what's happening. It's just more about like their existence without being constantly bullied. I want you to understand, like, bullying fat people doesn't cause fat people to lose weight. If you actually care about fat people losing weight, you won't constantly like do what Pearl's doing, where she's just constantly like fat shaming people. If you want a fat person to lose weight, the first thing you need to do is identify why they're even eating so much. What is the specific underlying issue on why they're eating so much? And you work from there, and you try to encourage people to help themselves and lose their weight. Now, you personally don't need to do that to every fat person you see, because that's something that a friend would do for somebody. So if you actually cared about fat people, get some fat friends, and when they express to you that they want to lose weight, be supportive of them. But it really what it comes down to is it's always the excuse is they'll say they care about fat people losing weight, but none of them actually do. They like to bully fat people and say like shit about fat people. And they use like, oh, I actually just care about you as an excuse, but they don't really care about anything. It's the unfortunate reality. They really just don't care. Because we know that you shouldn't be overweight. I talk about it all the time. Even in the beginning of this, you shouldn't be overweight. It's not good for you. And when you're young and you're overweight, you don't realize the negative impacts that it can have on you. And you really should make sure that like you eat healthier, specifically eating healthier. Like you can be technically healthy and overweight. Not like me overweight. Like you can't. Well, when I used to do like strongman training, I was actually really healthy, and I was like 330. But I should get back into that. But like, sorry, going off on a tangent. You need to develop the habits younger, because like really your younger years, even it's like your 20s, that's what's going to set the stage for the rest of your life. So you want to make sure that you develop like positive eating habits and whatnot, especially as you get older. And you should be really worried about having kids as well, because it's when you're overweight, it's difficult for both men and women to produce children. There's a higher chance of your kids coming out with some kind of like a disability. I'm just being honest. Like I'm not like, it's just kind of the reality, and it's something that like hopefully will motivate you to go like, okay, what should I do first? And the first thing that you should do is you should try to walk 20 to 30 minutes every day. That's it. You don't have to dive into it, because we also have a culture that just dives into everything head first, and they'll starve themselves. Yeah, which is also dangerous, because you're going to start seeing those problems when people who starve themselves and they don't eat well either. You're going to start seeing problems when you get older as well. Walk a half hour a day, 20 to 30 minutes every day, and drink water and stop drinking soda. Start small. Try to have like a cup, or maybe not a cup is a lot. Have like a serving of broccoli with every meal. Like high micronutrient dense food that's going to fill you up, so you won't want to eat as much other shit.
Come on, that's it. Obesity is suicide.
Yeah.
Obesity is suicide.
I guess so.
So, like,
But I'm not forcing someone to be fat.
right,
Like,
but
I'm
you're
not
but you're
forcing
saying it's
someone
but you're supporting
cut
it.
You
away.
might as well do,
You
because
said
you're
it's okay.
supporting that.
It's not supporting it. You're just saying like, hey, I'm not going to criticize somebody because just on virtue of them being overweight. And that's all it really comes down to, because you're not actually going to make them lose weight by not doing that.
You're normalizing it.
I care about them enough to call them a whale, to motivate them to
That's not a motivation tactic. Nobody's going to be motivated by calling them a whale.
save their
No,
life.
pal.
I should be a hero right now.
It's concern trolling. It's pretending to care about the person, and then like saying that this is going to be something. It's very disingenuous. Like, just be honest. I don't like fat people. They're gross to me. Okay. Just do that. Just say like, just say fat people are gross to me and I don't care about them. I will 100%. I'll respect it. It's like that. It's like that progressive racism. You know what I mean? It's like when like somebody who's like, like, I don't know, black or Hispanic, it's like they'd rather you call them like a bigoted slur than to pretend to be their friend as like some kind of like a virtuous, progressive fucking like racist who really doesn't care about them at all. It's like that. Like, just be honest. Yeah, I think fat people are gross. Okay. We're all set.
Now,
You got a dose of reality.
Give her a whale ribbon right now.
I'm motivating them to get on the treadmill. Look at it.
If you love someone, you tell them the truth.
That's got
Well,
tough
that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, tough love.
See, that's a very non-explored, very like stunted take. Yes, if you love somebody, you tell them the truth. If you love somebody, though, you tell them the truth in a way that's easy for them or better for them to digest. So I'm sitting here saying you're a whale, you need to lose weight. If you ever said that to somebody that you loved, you would no longer have that person in their life. If I and my wife and I are both trying to motivate each other to lose weight. My wife doesn't come and say like, you're fucking fat, you need to lose weight. What my wife will say is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have. This is what happened this morning. We bought Halloween candy to set up bags for kids, and I went to have a piece of candy, and my wife said, hey, you really shouldn't be eating that. You're diabetic. And I said, you're right, baby. And I put it, and I didn't eat it. That's how you tell somebody that you love that they need to get healthier. So this is like a very out of touch, disingenuous perspective that they're trying to push out right now, because it doesn't do anything to motivate anybody. It's concern trolling. It's not positive in any real capacity. It's caustic. It's caustic to people. It's not helpful.
I think society has kind of dumbed things down and made it so that everything is okay. Do whatever you want, but trying to eliminate the consequences, which can't be.
But how is not being able to walk okay?
Yeah, it's not okay at all.
Diabetes.
But I do
all
think
these crazy things.
there's still a way we should
Diabetes.
Because for example, I run a football academy, right? And there are people, if they are overweight, the way I would approach it, I wouldn't immediately say, you're fat. No, I would take them and then I will show them that you're overweight. I will clearly explain it. But it won't. Hold on.
Why are they laughing? I actually enjoy. I appreciate what this guy's saying. Why are they laughing?
Well, it won't be a case of me, because obviously it's gonna demotivate them and demand them.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
So what I will do is I will show them the truth, but I will also give them a way to change that. But
this guy, I appreciate everything like I just said. He's like, hey, I run like a training thing. When I see an overweight person, I explain to them the dangers of being overweight, but I also show them a motivating path, because they will get concerned and it will push them away from losing weight if I'm too hard on him. And they're interrupting him while he's talking. This guy makes sense. I respect what this guy is saying. This is like the person that seems to come to the table with like a nuanced perspective that's actually trying to engage and not be like, ew, fat people are gross.
But obviously the thing that's wrong with society right now is that we're saying, oh, it's okay for you to just be like that and keep doing what you're doing.
And you deserve.
See, I feel like this is a person I could have a conversation with, because part of that is true. You could have a conversation about over affirming some of these things without talking about the health negatives. Right. One of the things that like when we does come to like overweight like models is like, I think it's perfectly fine to have more representation. But there's really sometimes there's not necessarily a conversation about how like people could be healthier. Or this is a big one, I think, for like Lizzo. She actually exercises a lot. Like I've looked into Lizzo before. She's probably a healthy fat person. That's something that should be being displayed even more than anything else. Because she's probably actually healthy at her weight, because she diets well and exercises, because she's rich and she has like, she probably has a nutritionist. And I've seen her do all these things and talk about how like, yeah, you should always be active even if you're overweight, because like health is paramount. It's very important, right?
Love.
Yeah, but what would
why does
someone boys actually do cuss the
absolutely, yeah. That's a dose of reality.
Like why does someone else have to deal with your problems? Because you're gonna have somebody healthy
You don't stop talking to that person. You don't have to tell. Like, what are you talking about?
issues, and now who's gonna take care of you? The guy that's in shape, the thinner partner.
What? I
can't. And then you're saying they deserve to be taken. Like, what do you do in your old age?
Oh my gosh.
They have to deal with like, how are you gonna push them around in a wheelchair when they're
They have electric scooters. What is your point?
300 pounds?
What?
Yeah, men don't have any problem telling a man that's fat.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you tell if you got a fat friend, you tell him you need to go lose weight. You have to tell him.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fat kids that were
You're probably not going to be friends with like some guy that you're constantly telling that he's fat and needs to lose weight.
bullied,
but-
they lost weight. And now they're healthier.
Not all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fat kids that were bullied, they lost weight. And
Most of them didn't lose weight. This is, I mean, it's an objective statistic that people who are bullied in high school tend to perform worse than people who bully in high school. This argument of like when people get bullied, they do better. It works for some people, but most people don't actually respond well to being bullied. So
now they're healthier.
Not all of them.
Oh, well, the ones that,
What about the ones that like took it to heart and then developed issues?
those ones shouldn't reproduce, right? But the ones that did, the ones that were like, oh wow, maybe I am fat, and actually made a change.
the idea that fat people don't know they're fat is weird.
And actually improve their diet, improve their health.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are better for it, and they're stronger.
I find it interesting that in this entire like fat shaming aspect here, not once did they actually show somebody a way that they could lose weight that would be viable. I talked about it, and I know I should take my own advice, but like I used to work out like very religiously. I used to train for strongman. I used to be very healthy. I used to do like weighted cardio. I have a log outside. I have a yoke walk. I have a farmer's handles outside. Like I used to be overweight and very healthy. And what I did was I cut out sodas, and like I cut out soda. I ate a lot of like chicken, and I ate a lot of broccoli. The reality is that most people aren't going to adhere to those like really strict standards. It's kind of a lot. So like I was saying before, go for like a 20 to 30 minute walk a day. Choose 25 minutes. Choose 20 minutes every single day. Just get into the habit of starting. Cut out sodas, even diet soda. Drink water. These things are going to start making you healthy. Like I said, eat like a serving of broccoli with every meal, because what's going to happen is you're going to get fuller and you're going to want to, you'll have desire to eat less food overall and less bad food. These are things that like overweight people need to hear advice from other overweight people or overweight people who have lost the weight, because people who are thin have never struggled with their weight in any true capacity. They don't know anything about actually losing weight when it comes to like stress eating or some kind of like emotional eating or something in another capacity. Not a single time in this entire bit have they talked about the things that need. Oh, yeah, go run and lose weight. That's not going to happen. You're telling somebody that you think there's 300 pounds to go run? What do you mean? You like it's not gonna that's not gonna do anything. Like you think, not for nothing. If you're 300 pounds, it actually might shatter your fucking knees to run. Go for a walk. And if you can't do 20 minutes, then do the most that you can. If you're really overweight and you're like, I can only walk for 10 minutes, walk for 10 minutes every single day for 2 weeks, and then walk for 12 minutes every single day for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And then walk for 14 minutes every single day for 2 weeks. And if that's too much, go back down to 10 minutes every single day for 2 weeks. Start drinking more water, right? Like you make the steps that you need to only put the amount of stress onto your body that your body can overcome. That's the thing that people don't understand. Stress is a really positive thing in your life, but only enough stress for you to overcome. You can't if you're really fat, you're not gonna be able to run a marathon. Right? That's not gonna be productive. When I first started going to the gym, I had a friend who worked out and he had me overtrain. The point where my triceps and my chest locked up for like a whole day. I couldn't actually go to work. I'd call out. I stopped working out for like a year after that. I started getting back in. I looked into Wendler 531. You should go look into it if you're interested in like weight training. That was incredible. I was doing that. 5x5 strong lifts. These are the things that you want to like get into the gym with. You want to only put as much stress onto your body as your body can overcome. That's a big thing. Why the fuck isn't it playing?
Individuals mentally. But my theory is, I don't think women actually want that to happen. I think that they kind of subconsciously want to destroy people and each other. So I think they would rather tell each other that they all look good, because I don't think you really want the best for each other. I don't think like women sitting with their fat friend telling her that, oh yeah, someone's really going to love you for you and like you deserve this and that, instead of telling her what she needs to know. Because I know a lot of women like this and they can lie all day.
Do you know what? But
so you think that women just want other women to put them down? What? I mean, maybe some of them, but like, what if your friend just doesn't want them to berate them about their weight all the time? What if they're the friends with that person and they don't want to make them upset? You know what I mean? It's not everybody's job to police everybody else.
I feel, and this is the point that I've been like, this is what I've been saying to myself in my head. I feel like there seems to be like a lot of like toxic behavioral traits that are involved in these situations that like you're playing out. And this is where I said like I grew up different. I love my friends. We all look completely different. Mm-hmm. There are people that are bigger. There are people that are slimmer.
Insult, guilt, and need to be right. You're shaming him.
What do you mean?
Did you have a fat friend?
Toxic traits.
But I'm just saying that you don't need to.
You called him to like what this toxic, and so I'm saying like this is like the.
No, I'm saying the scenarios that he's coming up with, as in saying that like, oh, I was fat and I was bullied. Like that's a toxic scenario.
Yes, it is. That is objectively true. That woman is 100% correct. Yeah, unfortunate. It's unfortunate that like there's like I don't know. I try to look at things a little bit more clinically sometimes because again, my wife, what she does for a living, some people don't. It's really made me realize that most people don't care about what they say or talk about. Like this person there, she doesn't actually care about what she's saying. It's more just about wanting to say it. So I guess that's why I take some of this content more seriously.
Full Zero F Pestilence super chatted $4.99.
Hey, thanks for the super chat.
I hated this video by her, but her whole point is basically being fat isn't good. Go to a different video.
Okay.
Sarah became a member.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the membership, Sarah. Yes, that is her video. Thank you. Oh my god. You guys are so dumb sometimes. Wow, what have we got here? I actually got a good amount of stuff here. We got a good amount of content here. It's so funny. I haven't played any games today yet. Pearl just Paris came to Samuels. Yeah, I think at this point there's a decentive. There's a decentive to Pearl actually educating herself on what she talks about because she'll lose her job. That's what happens when your entire like red pill. There's very little movement in the red pill ideology. If you don't agree with 100% of everything that's happening in that ideology, you're done. You're toast. People don't give a shit about you anymore. That's really what it is. You have like that's the problem with having that type of content where like you get popular for a thing because you cannot think outside of that thing or your way of life is over. And so you're never going to see any honest interpretation or extrapolation of any facts that's ever going to be presented. Like when she had this like really ridiculous perspective on like why men should be able to cheat because men prefer 20-year-old girls to like girls their own age, which was even by the own statistic that she referenced is untrue. Because there's that you can't intelligently engage with the content that you're addressing, or else you'll lose your way of life. And so that's really what it comes down to. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.